events that happened in the past that may have had a religious character to them. But basically, it's just an excuse to get around the law, get around the Lemon Test.
Right.
And I think that's the Roy Moore situation. I think there was an attempt to do that too. That somebody threw up some religious artifacts or something, or icons of another religion, but they were like over in a corner somewhere or off to the side. And
But you know, if you want to talk about the Ten Commandments, there were no Ten Commandments. It is not a document. It wasn't a document that even existed. Right. So what they're actually putting up are actual documents and trying to all of a sudden secularize something that's not secular. I mean, the Ten Commandments, that's a whole other show. We talk about that a lot. Right. It is so
there are 2 or 3
un-American, the Ten Commandments, because they contradict what the rights that are given in our Bill of Rights, and they support slavery and everything. And oh my goodness, and what version do you want to put up? And it's really just a way to promote religion on public property.
That's right.
But the other two, one of the 3 prongs, there must be a secular legislative purpose to what is going on.
Right.
2, there cannot be an excessive entanglement with government, okay, in what's going on. And here there's clearly an excessive entanglement with government.
Well, the government's enabling them to maintain their church.
Exactly. There is an entanglement.
Right.
And 3, the act or legislation cannot advance nor inhibit religion.
Right.
So I think that this money going to these churches violates 2 of the prongs.
2 of them, yeah.
So anyway, that's where we're at. American Atheist files. We have quite a few lawsuits, many more that need to be filed, many more. There are many issues. You might live in an area or not be attuned to all that's going on, but there are violations all over the place. We can't keep up with them because there's so many religious groups. And what happens is they'll do something here and the courts will say, stop it. They'll just move to another town and do it. The violations take place in all the prisons and in the military, so many workplaces, so many public schools that we need to be really very well funded and need to have a huge army of attorneys to keep up with them. So I hope that you appreciate what we do, what we need to do, all that we're trying to do, but we really need your membership and your support to do. It's just almost impossible to keep up with all of it.
You would think there would be some kind of penalty that if a certain group that once the federal government or a state government makes a ruling regarding given incident that when they move to another town and do the same thing, that they're basically repeat offenders. You know,
there is. You call when you file a lawsuit. You file, I think, for like injunct. If I'm not an attorney, you ask the court to grant in some kind of relief, and I forget what it is, which means they can't do it again or whatever.
Until the suit is settled, right? Is that correct?
Well, I mean, if we win in, if you win at this one level or you lose, it's just.
Right, especially with the Ten Commandments, because I think
applies to this one area.
I think the Supreme Court ruled that the Ten Commandments situation must be decided on a case-by-case basis, so they can basically create these little harassment situations all over the country.
Right, exactly, and that's where we come in. You know, because the religious, you know, they're just going to keep trying and trying and trying, and we have to be vigilant everywhere we go. And here's another instance. I mean, I talk about this all the time. The problems we have with religious extremists are in the workplace, the prisons, the public schools, and the military. So one of the things that we do in our magazine, American Atheist, this is a magazine for you, and it's about you by people who are atheists who understand you. This is all for you. It's your magazine, and so in this magazine, we put profiles of people. And one of the profiles that we do, let me see if there's one in here, is we profile atheists in the military, because there are foxhole atheists, so many of them. And here's one of the latest profiles. Okay, this is William F. Richards, and it was done posthumously by his daughter. But I want to read a profile that's going to go into our next issue. You'll probably have that in your hands when this show airs. But this is his profile. I want to tell because I want you to know more about atheists and who they are, and I can't get them here. So, in fact, he's serving in Iraq right now.
And you should visit the website. American Atheist website for more information.
Yeah, and click on Atheists and Foxholes. He says, my name is Sergeant, it's
Tech Sergeant.
Tech Sergeant Darren Vick. I joined the Marines straight out of high school, and I have been in the military for 9 years. I started as an active duty Marine infantryman, and after 4 years, when I was honorably discharged, I joined the Air Force Reserve. My first experience in dealing with religion in the military came in boot camp. I was told I could not put atheist on my dog tags. Instead, I was told to specify no preference. This to me meant that I was undecided when in fact I had decided my own beliefs as a young child. On Sundays, they gave out the schedule and location of each service. I asked my drill instructors what we were to do if we weren't religious. They informed me that I had better go to some service or I would have to spend the allotted time cleaning. Rather than perform the extra duties, I chose the Protestant service because I was able to hang out with a high school friend that I had joined with. We would sit way in the back and talk about how we were doing. Also, nightly groups would form up in various spots in our squad bay and pray out loud. One person in each group would be the lay leader and would lead the prayer. I felt out of place being a witness to this, so instead I would sit on the end of my footlocker and write letters to family while they were praying to make it through the hard times. I was asked by a few why I didn't believe, because although people seem to understand why you may be in another mainstream faith, to have no faith was the equivalent of devil worship. I would often have to explain that I didn't believe in the devil. I was proud to be one of the few atheists. There were not many of us, but it is to be expected. At ages 18 to 20, most people still hold the beliefs of their parents. On one occasion, early on in basic training, I was called out to be in a group that was forming up outside of our squad bay. I did not know why, and you don't ask your drill instructor these questions. The group of us was marched to a classroom. As we were filling in the seats, I noticed that each desk had rosary beads and a small Bible. There were also instructions on using the rosary beads. The class did not last long, but it became apparent to me that I was somehow mixed in with the group as an other. Later that day, as I was throwing away the plastic beads and the small Bible, since I had no use for them, another recruit asked what I was doing and appeared to be very upset about it. I tried to explain that this was just plastic and paper. To him, of course, this was a huge crime, if only because he had been told that for so long. So he kept the items, which I thought was funny. Now he has extras of these items. I tried to imagine how many he would have in his footlocker if everyone but him in the room had been an atheist. In the Marines, I was never sent to war because I got out just before the invasion of Iraq. I'm wrong on that, he's not in Iraq. I had trained with weapons and explosives, though, and had almost been shot by accident a few times. I never thanked God that the bullets missed me, and I never felt I was spared by divine intervention or any other such things. Since I left the Marines, I have been serving in the Air Force Reserves because I wanted to still serve and work on my retirement, and I knew the Air Force would have a better quality of life. Also, I didn't want to serve full-time anymore because I had had enough of sleeping in dirt, mud, and rocks, and carrying all that weight made me a disabled veteran. I have been safe in the Air Force and am currently serving my first deployment for them. My civilian employment is for a company that is mostly prior military. When I was about to go on this deployment, a co-worker asked if I had gone to church and made peace with my Maker. I told him that I'm an atheist. I also told him my wife, who was also an Air Force reservist, would be deploying at the same time to a different area in Iraq. I told him my wife is a Buddhist.